I want to create a concept model of this site here. This is a situation where in the town where this site is positioned, you're allowed to have quite large sites, or you can subdivide that site. Originally all the sites were this size here, quite large, about 1/4 of an acre. Lately people have been subdividing their sites and putting additional units like this one and this one, this building, that one, that one. So the idea is that people have been taking their rather large sites, subdividing the back of it and building a new house. So the concept is going to be, we want to take this site, import it as a image file, then later on we're going to import it as a survey plan. We're going to calculate the area of the house, quantify the percentage that this house takes up of the site, the percentage cover, and then we're going to create a new house down here and see whether we can create a new house on a smaller site and still comply with our building coverage regulations. So we want to get this map from here into our Vectorworks. Now, a couple of things you can do with Google Earth. One of the things you can do is to measure things. So for example, I can use my ruler, I can click here, come down here, it's about there I think, click, and if I choose to make that in meters, 50.99 meters, it's a bit inaccurate because of where I click, so just be careful of that. But it's a great way of looking at the site, seeing what the neighbouring properties are, and capture this image if you don't have anything better. Now in Vectorworks, if we go to our base drawing, we can import that image file. So File, Import, Import Image File. Import image file. I just have to locate it and then import it. Now the way I got that image off my computer was to do a screen capture. Now that's print screen on a Windows machine, and then you can just paste it into your Vectorworks drawing. I've used a screen capture, there are loads of them around. On a Macintosh you can use Control-Shift-3, that'll do a screen capture. Plus there are programs you can buy that do it. So there's my image file. Let's import that by clicking on the open button. I'm going to use JPEG compression, and there's my image on the site. Now the only thing I've done to this image is I have put some black lines around it so it's easier to see the site. If I zoom in, we need to check to see the length of this. Is it the right size? So I'll put a dimension on, hit the Z key, that'll help me zoom in quickly. Z key again, and click. I got the wrong dimensioning style, so don't forget to choose the right one, which is this one here. So Z key again, click, come down here, Z key again, click, and there's my distance. Now the distance is wrong. Double hit the selection tool and that'll deselect everything. So modify, scale objects is what I want. So let's do a dimension from that point there down to that point there. Vectorworks will pick up the distance. The new distance should really be this. This is what I measured on my Google image. And we're going to scale the entire drawing. So remember, when you do this, don't do it with anything else in the file. Always make sure that you've got nothing else in the file when you do this. Yes. So there's my site. I don't need that dimension any longer. I'm just going to drag that so it's about in the middle. And so this is going to be a great starting point for my site. If you have survey information for your site, then we can import the survey information. This will be a lot more accurate. So we're going to import a single DXF DWG file. Choose the site survey that we've got. I think the size is millimeters, but I'm really not too sure, so I'm going to try inches. I know I want the scale to be 1 to 250. Generally, if I'm importing from a surveyor, meters is what I use in New Zealand. In a metric country, I nearly always use meters for a survey file and millimeters if it's coming from anyone else. So just to show you how to fix a mistake, I'm going to use the wrong units, which are inches. So this is not the right units that I should be using. So I don't want to map my colors to line weights. I'm going to set all my colors to black and white. Leave that. I'm not going to add a prefix. Import DXF layers as classes. Points. This one's really important. Convert dimensions to groups. Now once I convert dimensions to groups, if we have a look, what we've got here is a dimension. So that's a millimeter dimension. So what we should really make sure is that we've got nothing else in this file, because it will cause problems. Now since there's already information in this file, I'm going to select all, which should just select stuff on this one layer. This active layer scale should be 1 to 250. That's cool, it is. Let's go to modify, scale objects. Let's just dimension this boundary length here. So from that corner down to this corner here, that should be 50190 millimeters, or 50.19 meters. Don't scale the entire drawing, and we'll scale the text. So there is my site survey, and now you can see it in line with my other information, the image file, and it's pretty close. Okay, it's slightly, there's, I should perhaps move it so I can get these lined up together, like there, and just nudge that information so it's pretty close. Now I can see my site survey information and my base image file, and they line up pretty well. I'll just get rid of my base drawing. There's my site survey, so that's done its job there. That's done its job. Now I've got an idea of what the contours are. Now that we've got our imported survey plan or our image, what we need to do is to draw our proposed area, or existing site, and the existing house, and measure the two areas. Now if you've got a survey drawing, that's real easy, because here's the polygon. It's already there. You just need to copy it and paste it in place. Edit, paste in place. So that's a real easy way to do it if you have a survey. If you don't, then you're going to have to draw it. So with my Polygon Tool, start at this corner here. Don't forget we've got the Z or the Z key. Click for that corner. The Z or the Z key again, click there. This is a little trickier down here. The Z or the Z key, there's the line there, so it's about there. And we're going to finish up here. Now I know I'm not at my start point. I'm going to click there and then click there again. I'm actually too lazy to go back and finish it, and if I close it like that, Vectorworks will close it completely for me. Now I need to trace over the house. This is a little bit trickier, so you need to zoom in a bit. And then you need to use something like the rotated rectangle tool. So I could start here. Now you notice when I go near there, it snaps to the boundary. So we want to temporarily disable all these snaps. That's the tide key, or tiddle, someone told me it was called. It's a squiggle just underneath the escape key. So click to start, come up here and try and get as accurate as you can. Click and click. So this is our roof area. So click to start, come down to that point there, click, and that goes out to about there, and it goes from there down to there. So that's that area. So that's the area of my existing house. Those three areas. Right click and add surface, joins them all together. Now there is another way to do that, and that's to use your rotated plan. So we're going to disable the snaps again, click, come out here, click, and now my whole site's been rotated around. I think it's pretty square, and now I can just use the Polygon tool or the rectangle tool. It should be even quicker to use this. So let's start over here. So about there, click, kind of come across to there, go all the way up to the top of the building, which is about there, there, and I'm just holding my shift key down so that I can draw my building pretty close to the image, and double click. Once again, just use my little trick and close it off automatically. When you're finished, you can go back to top plan view. Now if you've done this accurately, of course what you could do is save the view, call it rotated plan, and come back to this rotated plan anytime you want. Now let's go back to a top view, or a top plane view. Fit to page. Now all I need to do is go rotate a plan. It's rotated me right round. I'm square onto that house. Should make it easy to draw. We're going to do a worksheet where we count up this area and the house area. I'm just going to turn off my base drawing so you can see it more easily. So those two things we have to count. We need to create classes for those objects so that we can use classes to calculate areas. Now ideally you should have had those already made. Things like this one here, site, existing site, and so on. If you haven't already made them, go to your classes button here and create the new classes. Now I've already got here existing site, existing house. Let's just have a look at those. We could, if we wanted to, have graphic controls over those. Here's to all objects. That's the existing site. Here's the existing house. Let's do this as well. I'm not going to give it too much fill on that one. Here's to all of those. And second thoughts, I want that to have no fill and have a dashed line because it's a site. So OK and OK. So once we've got those objects and the classes there, select your site area, assign it to the site, existing site. Notice it's changed its graphic style. So the house, object info palette, site, existing house. Now if I turn on my base plane again, notice how my house is solid, so you don't see through it.